All right, what is going on, guys? Got a breakdown for UFC Vegas 43. This will be the Tate versus Vieira fight night. Featherweight bout, we got Tucker Lutz taking on Pat Sabatini. They are even on height. Lutz going to have a 2-inch reach advantage, and Sabatini about 4 years older. So I will start with Tucker Lutz. Um, Won a decision against Kevin Aguilar in his UFC debut, and he looked good in that one. Kevin Aguilar's UFC run wasn't great, but he was a game fighter, and he was a guy that if you got a win over him, it was a nice feather in your cap. And Lutz had to battle a little bit of adversity in the third, and it was good to see. I mean, I don't want to say adversity; he wasn't in trouble, but Aguilar started fighting back more, and Lutz just saw that the win away with a beautifully timed takedown. I would say striking wise, Lutz has good boxing fundamentals. Doesn't leap off the page anywhere, but again, he's fundamentally sound. And he was just picking his shots against Kevin Aguilar. Kevin Aguilar, good boxer, a lot of power. He just kind of has the same movement set. And Lutz was able to get into a rhythm, get his timing down, and was just picking his shots. And I'd say that was the best we've ever seen from Tucker Lutz, boxing wise. But yeah, in the contender series, worked in that wrestling again, salted away 2 decisions, ends up coming to the UFC after the second one. But yeah, regional scene fighting out of Shogun fights, which is a promotion I'm not too familiar with, if I'm being real. I was looking; they haven't had an event booked since last April. I'm talking April 2020. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it was COVID kind of screwed up their operations. They might be around, but on that on that promotion, fought a few guys with sub 500 records. So he hasn't really beaten anybody that great other than the contender series in the UFC, but he did get the W's there, so it's good to see. But also, he's only got one loss. It was his first pro fight, and then as you can see, he went 7-0 amateur. So yeah, Tucker Lutz has been winning fights. It's tough to really gauge his ceiling, just with the level of competition and just really what his game is going to look like if he can't if he can't be the one leading the dance either on the feet or on the ground. But I mean, so far so good. He's got good takedown ability. He's got pretty good top control. He's got good control against the clinch. He's not a blanket per se, but he's got some good grappling ability. And then Pat Sabatini, I would say that he is a blanket. Um, Henzo Gracie Philly produces a lot of very well-rounded ground fighters. And Sabatini is the same. He's got great takedown ability, good top control, and very good submission game. Got the heel hook win over Jamal Emmers, which I think is a solid win. Emmers, his career may never get going. I think fight IQ kind of cost him in the UFC, but yeah, skill wise, good fighter, and it was a pick 'em. And he gets rocked by Emmers in the first round, gets dropped with an uppercut just about, and then Emmers ends up getting on top, tries to snatch his back up, but Sabatini just stays scrambling. Eventually, goes for a heel hook, and Emmers goes for a toe hold, and they're just kind of in like a standoff. But then you know what happens if you don't tap for a heel hook. Emmers just um, was just visibly in pain. Fight stops, and Sabatini picks up the heel hook. So sucks for Emmers, man, but it was a great win for Pat Sabatini. Before that, another great win, his UFC debut. Just absolute domination on the mats, or on the mat. Gets three beautifully timed takedowns, one per round, and then just racks up top control the whole time. And intelligent top control too. Like chipping offense, working in some sub attempts every now and then, but just ends up just full domination, like a Bryce Mitchell versus Charles Rosa type performance without the submission game, just full domination on the ground. And then before that, coming out of CFFC, one of the better, if not the best, regional promotions in the U.S. and has a lot of success there. Was champion, but last time he lost was a brutal armbar that he didn't tap for, and I just think Jamal Hill versus Paul Craig for how that one went. But then he bounces back and gets a knockout win over Jordan Tony. Shows he's got hands. And yeah, that is the thing with Pat Sabatini on the feet. Hasn't really had a chance to show it extended, either in CFFC or in the UFC. But he moves pretty well. He's got a creative striking dynamic. Like he's got a lot of kicks that he works in. I think he could be a little sloppy sometimes. So it'll be tricky maybe in this fight if Lutz can just stay fundamentally sound. He might be able to have opportunities to counter, but at the same time, Sabatini just has a very well-rounded striking base, and he's good at getting all kinds of takedowns. He's good at catching a leg and going down. He's good at getting a double leg up against the fence, whatever. He's got a backpack submission win in his career over Fabricio Oliveira. Um, but yeah, it's just the striking is the one thing that we just don't know where it's at. I think he's a little bit more creative than Tucker Lutz, but at the same time, he's a little bit more sloppy too. So it'll be interesting. But for this one, at minus 168, I got to go with Pat Sabatini. I just think he's a little bit better everywhere and a little bit more proven everywhere. But with that said, Tucker Lust, a little bit of a wild card who has impressed me, honestly. Like, he's pretty good. I just think Sabatini is a better grappler, and I've seen Lutz in some reversals and some scrambles that I think if the same thing were to happen with Pat Sabatini, he's going to be in submission trouble. And yeah, Lutz, like, just for a guy who's won most of his fights with wrestling pressure, it's just tricky to pick him against a guy as well rounded on the ground as Pat Sabatini, who has a tried and true submission game coming out of one of the best regional promotions out there compared to Tucker Lutz, who has had nothing but success, but just not against the same level of competition. So will it matter? Who knows? But yeah, I definitely like Pat Sabatini. And then yeah, on the feet, Sabatini just a little bit more creative, but like I said, Lutz a little bit more fundamentally sound. So he could afford to, just clean it up just a little bit, and that could present an opportunity for Lutz if Sabatini's a little wild on the feet and he just stays fundamentally sound. Because this fight could take place on the feet. You got two guys who like to grapple, so who knows? But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Sure, subscribe and take it easy.